Alright, part 4. This is going to be a mini-series. I shut the floodlight off. Maybe it would have been better with the light on. Anyhow, all those white roots are fine. They just haven't gotten any sunlight on them. And see, that goes from green to white. It's like we are when we're not out in the sun. So, this one has 4 great leaves on this side and 3 leaves on that side, and I think it's starting to get a baby leaf, I think, down in there. Not sure. I'll have to feel it. Yep. Alright, I'm gonna pause. Alright, I started potting up. This bark would be nice if it was a little bit bigger, but I guess if it was a little bit bigger, just wiggle your fingers around. And I soaked this bark in the rain. I know Carolyn of Jacqueline's Orchids, and Jacolyn is how you spell her name, because it's a combination of her husband's name, Jack, and her name, Carolyn. What a cute idea. She has 5,000 subscribers now. I don't even have 50. But anyhow, Carolyn's the one that helped me realize that I could keep orchids alive. So, her and I try to follow what she says, but we disagree on the spikes. She takes the spike off when they quit blooming, and I leave it on. Rick of Rick's Orchids down in Alabama, he leaves his on, his spikes. And this past winter, he had a nice setup in his sunroom because he has a staghorn fern that he has to get help. It weighs about 200 pounds that he hangs from the ceiling. I think he's had it for 20 years. But anyhow, he doesn't cut the spike, and he had one orchid that I remember that had 8 spikes in bloom. So, let's get some more of this down in there. I'm going to pause. Alright, there she is. Spider, I think I'm going to call her. Spotted spider. Alright, she's all done. Now I'm going to go to the next one. Remember, this is part 4. Now here's another orchid, and this one is from Lowe's, the supermarket. I think it's from Lowe's. This one does have that core in the inside. See? Maybe I was going to turn the flash on, the light on, and I can't see it. At a basketball game, I didn't realize the light was on, and it was shining in all the basketball players' eyes. And my granddaughter, or else it was a volleyball game, my granddaughter who played had to come over and say, "Grandma, you need to shut that light off." Somebody in my family said it looked like you were having an airplane come in to land on the aircraft carrier. Funny. Alright, I'm going to wet this. It's easier to see the bad roots. See that? That one's bad, but here's another one. See, the vellum is good at the end, but it's not good right here. So, That's why I think you shouldn't take the white cord off, because it's still carrying things. Look at how long that is. But now that just, these might end up having trouble because they look like they cracked. That one's cracked. That one looks like it has a growing tip. I'm on camera. Wonder why they focus sometimes and sometimes they don't. Here's one that has that dried out vellum, not just rotten. So that one's good. Has a tip growing. More bark. You can hear how hollow it is. Get this off. See, it's peeling off. All right, I'm going to pause it for a minute. All right, here we go. You can see how white some of those roots are, and remember, that's just because the chlorophyll. And see that rotten root right there? Do you see it? It's right there. It won't focus on it. I don't know why it won't focus. I guess it's focusing on what's closest. That's why you shouldn't point with your fingers. Everybody knows what you're talking about, and if you're pointing with your finger in front of the camera, see how it's focusing on that? Now watch this. Now it's going to want to focus on my finger and not focus on the roots. So I'm going to rinse this off. And there are a few places where the bark is still sticking. Like, see there? Don't let that bark on there if you can help it without breaking the root, because that will get acidic and it'll cause the root to rot. So just try to get it off. There we go. I think we're all set. There are some little, see, there's still some more bark stuff. Luckily this one was in bark, so it's not going to be mad at me. And look at that little root tip. I never understood why everybody got so excited about root tips, but now I do. Alright, pause. Here we go. I don't worry so much about whether the orchid is sideways, up straight, or how it's sitting. The orchid will make itself happy. In the rainforest, they're sitting every which way, and they're clinging to a tree. All those like cords that you saw underneath the vellum, that's what's strong enough to hold it to the tree. So when there's a rainstorm or anything, this bark is terrible. It's almost like dirt. I shouldn't say dirt. When I taught school, I said, dirt's what you get on your clothes, kids. Soil is what plants grow in. Soil what's under your feet. Soil what's took hundreds of years to be made by dead plants and animals. Mostly dead plants. Of course, I guess if you talk about fish emulsion fertilizer, that's a dead animal. Alright, I'm going to pause again. See what I mean? Look at it. It's like, it's not bark. It's like shredded stuff. Alright, here we go. There's a new leaf. Pretty little leaf. Some dirt on it. And like when you pot these, just stick your fingers down in, see if you can force the bark down in between the roots because it's like a cage in there, but you don't want to break the roots. Alright, let's make sure none of the leaves are buried. See? There is one buried under there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I'm going to pull up a little bit on the plant, because if you let that leaf down in there, it's going to rot. Alright, 1, 2, 3, that's going to be its fourth leaf. And here's 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side. And since this had such good aerial roots, see these? These were aerial roots that dried out. You can cut that cord off. So this one looks like a person saying hi, like a scarecrow. Let's see if you can see it. See, like a stick figure. There's his head. And there's one arm. There's the other arm. I think this is one maybe from the supermarket. I don't know what it is. I'm going to pause for a second. I want to show you this. This is a Coleus that I grew from seed. Let's see if I can show it to you nicely. I just love it. Look at those leaves. All from seed. And the wind broke it. Something else fell down on it yesterday. So I pinched out the center. You pinch out the center, and then all these little branches underneath at these axils will grow. And I could also clip off these big leaves, and that would let sunlight down in here. But I'm going to leave it alone for now. Look how big it is. That is as big as my hand. All from a little tiny seed that's like a speck of pepper. And here's, I'm going to turn this light on maybe. And maybe that made it worse. This is a propagation.